Hare Krishna. Welcome to Atma Media. I will be with you in a couple of seconds. Uh, so today, I know the pandemic still going on with the coronavirus, but I guess life gotta go on anyway. So today we're gonna still continue with the Srimad Bhagavatam story guide, which is very important. So, having said that, we are going to start again. One of the So let's start again because it really is important to repeat again and again and again and again what is most important for this life in this material world. So it might sound like cliche, but it is really important that the living entity understands what is the purpose of life, and the purpose of this life is really only one, besides the different engagements in which the living entity engages. There is one main purpose of life, and the Srimad Bhagavatam, being a scripture that actually relays that message of Bhakti Yoga, we need to really study that so we can understand that purpose of life. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, I started the first time with the 6 questions that lay the foundation of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. And the answers to those six questions from the first canto, chapter 1, represents the 5 conditions essential for proper understanding of the Bhagavatam. Unless these 5 conditions are accepted, then the inquiry represented by the 6 questions will not really bear any fruit. So those answers to those 6 questions start with: one should hear the pastimes, names and glories of the Lord from the Srimad Bhagavatam, in which all material forms of religions are rejected, from a bona fide spiritual master. One should become fixed in devotional service and not allow his mind to be deflected to anything else. Patiently and submissively hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam immediately reestablishes a soul in his eternal relationship with Krishna. All other goals are rejected in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Second is that one must hear the Bhagavatam from a bona fide representative of Vyasadeva. It is also in understanding that if both the speaker and the hearer are qualified, excuse me, the person hearing the message will easily understand the absolute truth, Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 4 is that hearing of the ever-fresh pastimes, names and glories of Krishna will attract one away from the horrible Kali Yuga trap of the material world to the eternal, blissful spiritual realm. So, and 5, because of the shortness of this life in Kali that the Kali Yuga brings. It is says in Srimad Bhagavatam that the median age that people will live is 50 years old. Even though by some medical advances, people are living a little bit longer, but that's the median range, 50, 55, that's the median range. But one should fear the dangers of Kali. One should accept the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and adopt the process recommended by Lord Chaitanya for self-realization in Kali Yuga, hearing and chanting Krishna's glories as told in the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's important. So Srimad Bhagavatam addresses those questions. So the 6 questions that were asked when we saw the first part of this chapter, and I'm going to repeat the question is, what is the ultimate benefit for mankind, which the answers were given previously? What is the essence of all the scriptures? For what reason did the Lord take his birth from Devaki? Describe the wonderful deeds of the Lord when he assumed the form of Brahma, Rudra, etc., for the purpose of creating, maintaining, and destroying the universe. Fully describe, it says, fully describe the activities of the Lord's Hari's incarnation within this universe. Where has religion taken shelter after Krishna has retired to his own abode? So these 6 questions are to be found according to Sri Jiva Goswami. So we covered this yesterday or the day before yesterday. So now I'm gonna continue. With the remaining of the chapter. I think we went to chapter 2, in which it says that before replying, Sutta Goswami offered first his obeisances to his guru or to the parampara. So Sutta praises the sages, inquires, for they are about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So now, in first come to chapter 3, Sutta Goswami replies to the 4th and 6th questions, the foundational questions of Srimad Bhagavatam, and also once more touches on the 5th question. In chapter 3, Krishna is the source of all incarnations. That's a summary. So Sutta Goswami describes the roles of the 3 Purusha avatars in the creation of both the total cosmos and the individual universes. Sutta then describes briefly 22 incarnations of God that appear within this universe. He goes on to say that the Lord actually has unlimited incarnations. Although innumerable incarnations exist, Krishna is their fountainhead, and so is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sutta Goswami explains that the material forms, the gross and the subtle forms of both the Lord, the Virat Rupa, and the living beings are actually imaginary. So we covered this yesterday. So it covers this. So it also brings up that to reach this perfection, the stage of perfection, one should hear this Srimad Bhagavatam, the cream of very literatures, with rapt attention from a bona fide spiritual master, and thus learn who is God and what one's relationship is with him, and what ultimate destination is after leaving his body. Such a qualified reader of the Bhagavatam will see Krishna in person within the Bhagavatam pages, because Srimad Bhagavatam is the incarnation, the literary incarnation of Krishna. So in chapter 4 explains the appearance of Sri Narada. So there's Shonaka Rishi inquired from Sutta about the history of Sukadeva Goswami speaking the Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. Sutta tells how Veda Vyas compiled and edited the Vedic literatures for the benefits of the unfortunate souls of Kali Yuga, this Yuga, the Yuga of quarrel and hypocrisy. So even after this great work was completed, Vedavyasa still felt dissatisfied, just as he was contemplating the cause of his despondency. His spiritual master Narada Muni appeared. We covered that. The Narada Muni appeared, and he actually instructed Srila Vyasadeva about what he was missing. So in the verses that follow, Shonaka Rishi expanded question 7 to include these 6 specific items. One of the items was, which we covered before, when, where, and why was the Bhagavatam recited. From where did Sukadeva's father, Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, get the inspiration to compile the Bhagavatam. After wandering about the earth like a naked madman, how was Sukadeva Goswami recognized as a great sage he actually was when he entered Hastinapur? How did Emperor Parikshit meet Sukadeva Goswami? Why did wealthy and powerful Emperor Parikshit renounce his kingdom to fast to death on the bank of the Ganges? So all these questions, all the philosophical questions, are asked in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the philosophical significance of question 7 and 6 items. So this Bhagavatam, which contains the direct pastimes of the Lord, this is in chapter in Canto 10, the direct pastimes of the Lord, and which leads the conditioned souls of Kali to engage in pure devotional service. Of course, during the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many other incarnations which are explained and are told by different people because it's conversation within conversations. So the only activity that will truly satisfy them is effective only when we hear from a pure devotee who is a representative of Sukadeva Goswami. So there's a summary of the answer to question 7 that Sukadeva Goswami begins to give in verse from 14 to 33 in chapter 4. He says that this Bhagavatam only describes devotional service, which is called Bhakti Yoga, and the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna, and Srila Vyasadeva's special arrangement. So the unfortunate souls trapped by Kali can approach the ultimate achievement, devotional service, which alone can bring complete satisfaction to the self. One cannot feel true satisfaction until one engages in direct devotional service as the Bhagavatam describes, even though one may understand and become purified by assimilating all the knowledge of the Vedas and the Mahabharata. So, in chapter 5, which is Narada's instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada Muni, fully understanding the situation, inquired from Vyasa. He asked from Vyasa about the root cause of Vyasa's unhappiness, and also given some hints at the solution. Srila Vyasadeva requests his spiritual master, Narada, to reveal the cause of his despondency. So Narada informs Vyasa about the importance of directly describing the glorious pastimes of Krishna. He also tells him the dangers that could arise due to previous writings, to Vyasa's previous writings, which only indirectly hint at the glories of the Lord. Narada then tells Vyasa about the secure position of a devotee serving Krishna. So, Narada tells Vyasa about his previous birth as a Sudra, and how Narada became fixed in the confidential service of the Lord through the association of Bhaktivedantas, of people that are knowledgeable in the science of Bhakti Yoga. So, there's a There's a question number 8 that is asked by Narada Muni to Vyasadeva. And it says, after compiling the Mahabharata, which Vyasadeva compiled the Mahabharata, full of all kinds of Vedic knowledge and representing the philosophy of impersonal Brahman, are you satisfied by identifying the body of mind and mind as objects of self-realization? That was one of the questions. So, question 9, which also serves as the answer to question 8, is asked by Vyasadeva to Narada Muni. In spite of these accomplishments you mentioned, I am not satisfied, and therefore I ask you to find the deficiency in me. So these are the philosophical significance, the philosophical significance of questions 8 and 9. So question 8, it says that the true satisfaction cannot come by any means other than by pure devotional service. Even question 9 says that even if one is complete in material knowledge, a lot of people says that they know everything, so they think they're complete in material knowledge, but one must become trained to render pure devotional service and thus remove one's miseries. Therefore, one must approach a surrender to training from a bona fide spiritual master who is 100% a pure devotee engaged in Krishna's service. So Narada Muni answered to questions 9. He answers in 6 parts. Okay, because the Srimad Bhagavatam, one is because the Srimad Bhagavatam directly represents the pastimes and glories of the Lord. Hearing the Bhagavatam from a pure devotee is the best method of removing our impurities and again reviving our devotional service to Krishna. Although we may be attracted to other literatures due to our impure conditioned desires, attentively studying the Bhagavatam will remove those desires. The Bhagavatam is therefore the most superior literature, superior to even the Vedic literatures which promote gradual purification and thereby confuse readers about the life ultimate goal. On one hand, any gain outside of devotional service is doomed, and on the other hand, devotional service gains are eternal. That's what is good to practice Bhakti Yoga. Advancing through devotional service is so perfect that even if a devotee falls, the Lord personally takes charge of rectifying him. Actually, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that even a small advancement in this path we can gain a lot. So, for the living entity to regain his constitutional position of serving Krishna through devotional service, he says that he must seek shelter of the Lord's representative, the bona fide spiritual master, and then under the spiritual master's direction, the disciple can purify his material attachment by using them to glorify the Lord. Therefore, one who is determined to go back to Godhead must surrender to take training from and hear the Bhagavatam from a pure spiritual master who represents Krishna. One must serve such a spiritual master and, rejecting all desires for material happiness, use his material abilities and opulences in Krishna's service while cultivating a strong desire to serve Krishna in the spiritual world. No plan to remove our miseries other than taking shelter of the Lord in devotional service will succeed. We should become determined to purify our inclination to lord it over the material world by dovetailing our material tendencies in Krishna's service. Thus, under the direction of a pure devotee, we can always remember Krishna and go back to Godhead. Rejecting as useless everything that doesn't bring us closer to Krishna, one should uncover his relationship with Krishna through offenselessly chanting transcendental sign vibrations like the Bhagavatam, because all classes of men can become purified through the potency of transcendental sound vibration. This vibration should be widely broadcast. So we should read and chant Srimad Bhagavatam. At the same time, we have that mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, we got 19 minutes. We're gonna stop there to make it short. In following this story guide, it is important that we go through the Bhagavatam so we can understand the actual knowledge that Srimad Bhagavatam is giving us, so we can learn how to use that devotional service, that bhakti yoga process, in purifying the mind. Before that, I wanted to go back just to, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, just as in Bhagavad Gita, there are some slokas where there are the primary slokas. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 4 slokas, which are considered the Chatur slokas, or Chatu Sloki Bhagavatam. So Chatur sloka, the 4 slokas. One of them says that Aham evasham evagre nanyat jat sat ashat param paschat aham jat etacha jo vashishet so smi aham. Brahma, this is Krishna speaking. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. Rityartam ja pratiyeta na pratiyeta jatmani tadvidyat admano mayam jatabaso jatatama. O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. Jatamahanti bhutani bhute sucha vashesh anu pravistani apravistani tata teshu nateshu aham. O Brahma, please know that universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created, and at the same time I am outside of everything. Etavat eva jignasham tatva jignashunat manaha ambaya vyatira kavyam dashat sarvatra sarvada. A person who is searching after the supreme truth, absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it up to this in all circumstances, in all spaces and time, and both directly and indirectly. So this is Chatur Sloka from the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's important. In this Chatur Sloka, it is described the Sambandha, Videya, and Prajnana, the relationship, the process, and the goal of the living entities. So Hare Krishna, and then we'll continue with our story of the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is maybe some people will actually pick up the book and read the Bhagavata Purana. So Hare Krishna, and have a good night.